In the spring of 1965, in the remote little Turkish village of Mediki, local resident Amat Bolba stumbles upon a discovery that will echo in history: the long-lost tomb and treasure of the ancient King Croesus. Guided by whispers of hidden treasure, Ahmed plunges into the earth's embrace and discovers an ancient entrance sealed shut. Once he manages to penetrate the tomb, he finds himself in a sumptuous chamber where gold glittered under the flickering light from his torch, and the surrounding area was filled with artifacts of unheard-of antiquity, whispering the secrets of an age long gone. Among the jewels was the legend wealth of Croesus, a king whose name had become synonymous with unimaginable wealth over the centuries. But along with the glitter of gold came the horror. It was as if the ancient king's silent curse began to linger in the air, a warning to those who dared disturb his eternal rest. Soon the village found itself enveloped in misery. Inexplainable tragedies, misfortunes befell those who touched the treasure. But the treasure of Croesus and the legend of the curse is far from the only such story. Many cursed relics buried in time are still waiting to be unearthed to carry their ancient curses into the modern world. Others, however, are already here and causing terrible events. Let's find out more about them now. The Curse on Silviano's Stolen Ring. In the chronicles of human history, where technology has made unstoppable progress and empires have risen and fallen, lies an incredible story that defies the linear passage of time. Imagine the ancient world in the 4th century AD, a time when the Roman Empire was at its zenith, and it is in the air that we encounter a narrative reflecting not only man's craftsmanship, but also his relationship with mysticism and curses. At the center of the story is a remarkable artifact, the Ring of Silviano. The saga of the jewel apparently unfolded at the magnificent temple of Naddens in England, a place revered for its connection to healing and the supernatural. It was here that the Silviano, a Roman of a notable status, found himself stripped of his expensive gold ring, a symbol of status and power. The loss is not only material, but deeply personal. The ring itself was large, about 1 inch in diameter, weighed 12 grams, and was probably intended to be worn on a glove. It is a square bezel engraved with an image of the goddess Venus and a 10-pointed band, prompted by its belief that the ring was stolen from a man named Cincinnato. Silviano resorts to an ancient and dark practice, casting a curse. He inscribed on a lead tablet a plea to the deity Naddens, asking that Cincinnato be deprived of good health until the ring was returned to its rightful place in the temple. The cursing tablet, or also called defix, is the manifestation of Silviano's grief and desire for retribution. Little did he know that this particular tablet would be the basis of something that would only give repercussions in the present day. The story remained hidden from the world for a long time until, during an excavation in 1929 at Lindy Park, Gloucestershire, Sir Mortimer Wheeler, a prominent archaeologist, made an interesting discovery. He stumbled across the ancient lead curse plate and immediately associated it with the ring. But how is it possible that this archaeologist discovered a ring lost over 1,500 years ago? The story takes us back to 1785 in a ploughed field near Silchester, Hampshire, England, where the ring was discovered. Originally, the gold sides of the ring were bare, but its later owner had crudely carved the band with these letters: Scinician Vivas, IND. Presumably, he intended to write Scinician Vivas in Dio, Sciniciano, to live with God, thus remembering this fine Sir Mortimer Wheeler connects the ancient Ring of Silviano with the lead curse plate. Wheeler established a connection between the ring and the tablet on the basis of the unusual name Cinciano, which is mentioned on both, and the closeness to the dates of these artifacts undeniably supports his theory. But the story of the Ring of Silviano does not end in the annals of ancient history. It takes on a new life in modern literature, inspiring none other than J.R.R. Tolkien himself in the creating the One Ring in The Hobbit. The parallels between the loss and curse of Silviano and the story of Gollum's precious ring in Tolkien's stories are striking. Both Silviano and Gollum curse those whom they believe have stolen their precious rings, and both declare those names with a curse. Delving deeper into the narrative and the actions of Silviano and Cinciano, we can see very clearly that our story is not just a series of linear events, but a puzzle interwoven with stories, mysteries, and unexplained things that I don't know when we're hidden and when and how we will uncover. Silviano's ring is an ordinary-looking object that becomes a key character in a story that spans millennia. Far more mystical, however, is the question of the treasure of the Lydians of Karun. The Karun Treasure of the Lydians is a fascinating and mysterious historical relic, unfolding a story dating back to the 7th century BC, located in Turkey's Ushik province. These artifacts were discovered among the remains of the mighty Lydian kingdom, once a vast Iron Age dominion known for its complex language and culture, closely intertwined with the Hittites and Luwians. The discovery was initiated by Ahmet Bulbul, a native Mediki in the province of Ushik, in the spring of 1965. Thanks to his astute observations, Bulbul uncovered the long-hidden secrets of the Lydian capital. His methodological approach, using the play of sunlight and descending shadows, revealed to him the entrance to a royal burial chamber. It was still untouched, and dynamite blasting had to be used to open it on 6th of June, 1966. This endeavor, led by Bulbul and local authorities, reveals a treasure that would soon become the center of controversy and legend. The Karun Treasure, also called the Treasure of Croesus, after the famous Lydian king Croesus, contains 363 artifacts that reflect the greatness of an ancient era. They include gold and silver objects, rare Lydian coins, exquisite silver vessels, and ornate jewelry that testify to the sophisticated craftsmanship of a bygone civilization. However, the discovery was not without consequences. The treasure was dismembered and sold, and some 200 pieces auctioned off for about $1.5 million and taken to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, a deal that was later challenged by Turkish authorities. The locals of Ushik began to associate the treasure with ancient legends of the curse it carried, attributing various misfortunes and even deaths to it, much like the gold rush described in Tolkien's The Hobbit. The small village of Gur is about 5 villagers who, driven by poverty and tale of Croesus' vast wealth, decided to steal some of the priceless artifacts and smuggle them out, dreaming of the luxurious life that awaits them. But their joy was short-lived. They soon realized that the treasure was not just a pile of gold and silver, but it also carried with it an ancient curse. Misfortune befell each of them in a most tragic way. Ali, the youngest, lost 3 sons, one in a brutal murder and the other 2 in accidents in foreign countries. Mehmet, the leader, faced a bitter divorce and the subsequent suicide of his only son. And Imam, who was the sanest among them, fell into madness and was forever muttering about hidden barrels of gold. Belief in the curse is further fueled by the scandalous sale and repatriation of the artifacts, including the subsequent arrest of Kayazm Abiyigalu, director of the Ushik Museum, on suspicion of stealing and selling parts of the treasure. But the saga did not stop there, as more cases of fraud came to light, and in 2006, one artifact was identified as forgery, casting doubt on the authenticity of the entire collection, or perhaps a substitution of some artifacts. It is also possible that during the mass hysteria surrounding the discovery of the treasure itself, additional items were created to be sold as artifacts from it. Even today, villagers in the area whisper about the curse of Croesus' treasure. Some say that it's marked by the blood of the Lydian princess, which is forever binds to misfortune those who dare disturb her peace. Others believe it is Croesus himself who curses those who desire his wealth. But this story seems to pale when we look at the sinister events that may have fallen the sounds of the silver and bronze trumpets found in Tutankhamun's tomb. Is there a mystical connection between their sound and the outbreak of various wars and conflicts around the world? Or were these just random events? This is the time. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. King Tut's Cursed Trumpets. The story unfolds in 1922 in the silent chambers of King Tutankhamun's tomb. Among the treasures unearthed by Howard Carter's expedition lies a mysterious pair of trumpets, artifacts of silver and bronze, hidden secrets from the past. These so-called trumpets, relics of a bygone age, are believed to hold a power beyond music, the power to summon war. The legend is taking root in the collective consciousness after a series of eerie coincidences. But perhaps these events are not coincidental. It is said that whenever the ancient sounds of these trumpets pierce the silence, the drums of war beat across the globe. The first case is pointed to 1939. Then they were recorded and broadcast by the BBC, which spread their sound around the world so that the echo of their sounds could become the thunderous beginning of World War II. But this is not the only case. Every time the trumpets sing their ancient song, conflict seems to follow them without delay, as if the notes themselves light the fuse of war. The mysterious melody rings out again in 1967, after which the Six-Day War ensues between Israel and the neighboring countries of Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. It led to a significant territorial reshuffle and had a lasting impact on the geopolitics of the Middle East. The war is a defining moment in the history of the region, leading to ongoing disputes and conflicts. The next time the tubes were used was in 1990, after which the world witnessed the beginning of the Gulf War, also known as the First Iraq War. This conflict began with Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, which led to military response by a coalition of countries led by the United States. The conflict ended in 1991 with the liberation of Kuwait. The Gulf War had significant geopolitical consequences and led to a prolonged period of instability in the region, even in 2011. Just a week before the revolution, the trumpets were blowing again, which there is no denying, completely fueling the legend of their cursed nature. Yet, despite all these developments, their supposed power is still covered with skepticism. The claims woven into the legend remain unconfirmed, leading to a divide in our beliefs. Are these trumpets simply musical instruments, or do they truly possess far more sinister power than we assume? We'd be interested to know your opinion on the matter. What do you think? Do trumpets hold an ancient power that we still don't understand, or is it just a coincidence? The Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is shrouded in mystery and tragedy. This 45-carat stone, estimated to be over 1 billion years old, is believed to have originated from the Golconda mines in India, mined around 1666. According to legend, it was the third eye in the statue of Kali, goddess of death and destruction, but was stolen there. It was first recorded when it was in the hands of the French gem merchant Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, who purchased it under the name Bleu Tavernier and sold it to the French King Louis XIV in 1668. The diamond then underwent several transformations and name changes, finally being renamed French Bleu. The story of the Hope Diamond is intertwined with misfortune. King Louis XIV gave it to his mistress, but later abandoned her. The gem then fell in the hands of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, who were beheaded during the French Revolution. Traces of the gem were lost for a time, but it reappeared in London, where it was purchased by the Hope family, giving it the name we know today. Considering the diamond's new name, we can say their fate had a rather ironic sense of humor. Tragedy seemed to invariably follow the diamond as it passes through the hands of various owners, including a Russian prince who fatally shoots a French actress and later commits suicide, a Greek jeweler who falls off a cliff, a sultan who goes mad, and Habib Bey who drowns. The diamond was involved in one of the most daring robberies in history, when thieves stole it along with other jewels from the Royal Warehouse in Paris on September 11, 1792. After its theft, the diamond probably made its way to London, where it was recut, significantly altering its appearance and reducing its value and grandeur. The largest remaining piece of the original stone became the Hope Diamond. In 1839, the diamond was listed in the gem catalog of the Hope family, members of the Anglo-Dutch banking family Hope & Company. In 1949, it was purchased by a New York gem dealer, Harry Winston, who owned it for several years before donating it to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. in 1958, where it remains on permanent display. Since its arrival at the Smithsonian, there have been no other incidents related to the diamond's alleged curse. From its mysterious Indian origins to its journey through the hands of royalty, revolutionaries, and socialites, the story of the Hope Diamond makes it one of the world's famous gemstones. And now we suggest you watch our video, The Mystery of the Lost Legions, 4 ancient armies that disappeared without a trace. The link's in this description under this video.